In Naval Petroleum Reserve Number 4, where men conduct exploratory operations for oil, one of the most difficult problems is to keep the workers supplied. Several factors complicate the problem. PET 4 is in an isolated region of 37,000 square miles. The Brooks Mountain Range is an effective barrier to the south. The range has not been crossed by highway or railway. The usually frozen Arctic Ocean hems in PET 4 at the north. Not only is this part of Alaska well isolated, it is far from sources of supplies, 500 miles from Fairbanks, which is the end of the railroad. It is 3,300 miles from Seattle, the port through which most supplies for Alaska must now pass. It contains no usable supplies other than limited water, food, and aggregates. It is intensely cold in winter, a morass in summer. Coastal waters are ice-free for only a few weeks during the summer. In spite of these conditions, geological and geophysical parties working far inland must be completely supplied. And drilling operations at Cape Simpson on the coast and far inland at Umiat must be supported with heavy supplies as well as light supplies. Each year in Washington, the operating committee determines the PET 4 operations for the following year and issues the schedule to the field. At Barrow Base Camp, supply requirements are made up and forwarded to Fairbanks for procurement through the NPR branch at Seattle. Supplies are then procured from commercial sources and armed services supply depots. Drilling and construction equipment is assembled at Advanced Base, Port Hueneme, California. Fuel oil at Point Malati, California, and general supplies at Seattle. Let us pick up the story in detail at Hueneme. Assembled gear is loaded on AKAs, which have already been bottom-loaded with oil at Point Malati. Included are weasels, carryalls, crawler-type cranes, even a metal station wagon. When the ships are loaded and the hatches battened down, tugs assist the ships away from the piers. They leave Port Hueneme en route for Seattle. At Seattle's Pier 91, the Naval Supply Depot, additional items are loaded. General supplies are carefully packaged or crated to minimize water damage and to withstand the rough handling of quick unloading on a beach. They are palletized to speed up loading and unloading. Containers show item shipping designator, requisition and order numbers, vendor, item, and weight in cube. Lumber is packed by size and length. Steel plates for construction purposes are taken aboard. Provisions are loaded in quantity. They are also palletized for efficient handling. Additional fuel oil and other material are hoisted and lowered into holds. All supplies are packaged, handled, and stored as if for a combat operation on a hostile beach. Loading completed, the ships are assisted from the piers. They are headed for Barrow. Throughout the voyage north, the weather is all important. Radar is used to track ice and ships. The ship makes her own observations. PBMs cover the ship's route around Alaska. The ships steam north through the Arctic fog. Meanwhile, at Barrow Base Camp, the supplies are awaited. This camp is the operational center for all activities in the Petroleum Reserve. Its 70-odd buildings, mostly Quonsets, are used for living and messing quarters, warehouses, shops, and administrative headquarters. Warehouses are available for indoor storage. Pontoon barges are repaired. Barges and landing craft are numbered. The beach plan is carefully studied. The plan is organized as if a wartime amphibious landing were to take place. The ships will stand offshore at designated locations. The numbered barges and landing craft will carry designated supplies from specified ships to prearranged beaches. The beach sectors are marked. Each sector will receive a designated type of supplies. A Pet 4 beach foreman, one for each sector, will supervise all unloading in his sector. The ships, meanwhile, approach Barrow. The ice has drifted to the north. Its location will be checked throughout the unloading, for there are memories of the second year of operations when a ship was caught in the ice for 14 days and barely escaped severe damage. The ship's anchor and landing craft are lowered. Personnel go ashore. The U.S. Navy Beachmaster Party heads for Beach 2 to set up the Beachmaster's headquarters and communication center. This party will control the movement of barges and LCMs to and from designated beaches. Barges from Camp Barrow are alongside the ships almost immediately. So are LCMs from the camp. Additional LCMs from the ships are lowered and given transport duties. Supplies are soon loaded aboard barges and landing craft. Weasels on this barge. General supplies on this one. Petroleum products on this. Loading is carefully planned so that all of each load goes to a designated beach. Construction materials are unloaded on Beach 1. General supplies on Beach 2. These supplies have been packed to withstand rough treatment. Oil field supplies on Beach 4. Drums of fuel oil on Beach 5. Other material is loaded on AFI wagons for immediate transport to warehouses. Mechanical aids are used to the fullest extent possible. Crawler-type cranes for heavy material and cherry pickers for lighter. D8 tractors assist. Beach personnel and native workers work at top speed, for the job must be done rapidly. The appearance of the beach changes from the first morning. The work has been well planned, and unloading continues around the clock in the continuous daylight of the Arctic summer. PBYs conduct a daily ice patrol to make sure the ice is keeping its distance. When the last pallet load has been lowered, the last box of heavy gear piled, and the last weasel towed ashore, unloading is completed. It has required only 5 days and nights to unload over 20,000 tons of supplies. Throughout the autumn and early winter, intensive preparations are made for taking supplies inland to satellite camps. Sleds are built for hauling supplies. Wanigans, enclosed bodies on sled chassis, are constructed. They will be used for portable bunkhouses, shops, galleys. Tractors and weasels are winterized. Winter lubricants replace summer. With the arrival of January, the tundra and lakes are frozen hard. Then heavy supplies in quantity can be distributed to satellite camps and mobile field parties. Removed from outdoor stacks, as well as the warehouses, the supplies are loaded onto sleds, AFI wagons, and wanigans. The sub-zero cold and biting wind, not mud, are now the main obstacles. Men wear special Arctic clothing so that work can continue despite the weather. The sleds and wanigans are formed into trains, each pulled by a D8 tractor. Sometimes very large trains are made up. For example, here a few miles outside base camp, at 50 degrees below zero, a large train is forming. In summer, this is a lake. Galley and sleeping wanigans are included to take care of the needs of the personnel operating the trains. There are shop wanigans, so that wanigans and tractors may be repaired en route. Storehouse wanigans carry perishable supplies. A crawler-type crane will do construction work. A winterized rotary drill will stay in the field for geophysical exploration. weasels will go to field parties. Oil is needed not only in the field, but to heat galleys and sleeping quarters, and to operate the tractors and weasels. 13 miles of tractor trains. Periodically, the trains stop. Tractors must be checked, refueled, and lubricated. Stove oil for eating and sleeping wanigans must be replaced. At night, men must rest. It is good to get out of the cold, to clean up, and to hit the sack. Meanwhile, tractor engines are left running to keep lubricants and fuel from freezing. Next morning, wind-driven snow may cut into flesh and obscure the trail left last week or month. Thus, it is often necessary to plow the trail. The going is frequently heavy. In such cases, winching ahead may be necessary. Double heading may be resorted to if winching fails. If the trail is new, or if unexpected conditions are encountered, a weasel reconnoiters ahead, looking for the safest and best routes. Pressure cracks in the ice could cause a lot of trouble. A route around them must be found. A river or lake must be frozen solid enough to hold a heavy tractor train. A gentle rise must be sought out, and steep going avoided. In the end, as always when well prepared, man defeats the bitter cold, the harsh weather, and the unkindly terrain. The tractor trains go through. At outlying camps, the supplies are unloaded. Supplies also go to locations where test wells are to be drilled, or to temporary camps for geophysical exploration parties. On other occasions, the supplies are made into a cache for a mobile geological or geophysical outfit scheduled to pass this way. Throughout the winter months, such freighting of supplies continues, for heavy supplies can be carried over land only from January to May. Air transportation is particularly important in northern Alaska, where there are no highways and no railroads. Throughout the year, airplanes give Pet 4 operations additional and continuous logistic support. Multi-engine cargo planes carry personnel and material from Fairbanks to Umiat and Barrow, and from Barrow to satellite camps where there are airstrips. Although these planes occasionally drop supplies by parachute to outlying camps or to mobile parties, single-engine or bush planes are generally used to carry men and supplies to sites without airstrips. Equipped with skis in winter, the low-flying bush planes land on ice or the snow-covered tundra. The bush pilots can land or take off almost anywhere. They fly in all kinds of weather. Bush planes deliver supplies directly to camps or to isolated spots where perhaps a mobile geological or geophysical party will stop weeks or months later. At this location, an easy-to-see marker is placed. Here, supplies are unloaded and stacked. An empty oil drum with end removed and clamp supplied is an important part of such a cache. The provisions in it will be protected from hungry bears. The airplane is an essential part of the logistic support of Pet 4 operations, often the only means of support. Personnel, mail, repair parts for equipment, emergency supplies, and other small shipments can be more economically handled by air transport than by the once-a-year tractor trains. The solution to the logistics problem of the Pet 4 project, thus, is more than ships, tractor trains, and aircraft. Men, too, are all important. Men do the careful planning, not only in Washington, but also in the field. And men execute the plans under adverse conditions. Men and machines have met the logistics problem. As improved machines give man greater mastery over Arctic conditions, it will be possible to deliver more supplies more efficiently.